Welcome back to Crochet Along with Miss Carol. Today we are going to make a mask mate or an ear saver. I know that a lot of you are getting ready to go back to school and you're going to have to wear those masks all day long, and those elastic ear loops can rub on your ears and make them really sore. So we're going to make a handy little thing that you can use to pull those elastics away from your ear and keep your ears from getting so sore. The materials you're going to need today are going to be acrylic yarn, just like we have been using. Any color you want to use is fine. You'll need your crochet hook, of course. I'm using a size H or a 5.0. You'll need a pair of scissors. You'll need to have your yarn needle to tie your ends in. And today you're going to need a button to hook your mask mate together, and you'll need a needle. I have a little packet of sewing needles here, and some thread to sew your button onto the mask mate. I also have handy my handy dandy little needle threader because my eyes don't see the way they used to, and sometimes I need a little help. You can print your pattern out by going to our website at mybpl.org, going under Programs, scrolling all the way down to the bottom of that menu where it says Handouts for Youth Programs. Click on that. There's a folder for Crochet Along with Miss Carol, and the pattern will be right there for you. So you can print that out so you can look at it while you follow along the video. Let's get started. Okay, so as usual, we're going to take our yarn, and I'm going to tie my slip knot to get started. Now today we're going to make a chain with 44 chains. Our project is going to be 40 chains long. We're going to use a triple crochet, which takes a 4-chain turning chain. So we need a total of 44 chains. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, I'm halfway there, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, and now my turning chain, 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, today we're going to learn a new stitch. We learned the single crochet and the half double crochet when we did our dish rag. And then in the next two projects we did, our coaster and our bookmark, we used the double crochet. Well, today we're going to learn the treble crochet or triple crochet. So we're going to yarn over, and then we're going to yarn over again. I'm going to go through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is that right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, I'm on the 5th one. I'm going to go through my stitch. And I'm choosing to go through the back bump of my chain this time. Yarn over and pull a loop through. So I have a total of 4 loops on my hook. Let's count those. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I'm going to yarn over and pull a loop through 2 of those. That's one part of my crochet. Yarn over, I'm going to pull through the next 2. That's a 2 part of my crochet. Yarn over, pull through the last 2, and that's what makes it a treble or a triple crochet. It's a longer stitch than the ones we've had before. And when we get done, you'll see why we need that. This is a very useful stitch for a lot of decorative type things, and we're going to use these as buttonholes today. So I'm going to yarn over twice, go through, bring up my loop so I have 4 loops on my hook. Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. I'm going to do it again. There we go. Pull through 2, pull through 2, pull through 2. I'm going to show you 2 more times. Yarn over twice, go through my stitch, pull up a loop. I have 4 loops on my hook. Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, and pull through 2. One more time. There you go. Just like the double crochet, only you're pulling through more loops. You go ahead and work on that. What you're going to do is continue doing those treble crochets all the way down till you get to the very last stitch on your chain. And then we'll move on. I'm going to go ahead and work on mine so that we're not filming the whole time. You don't have to sit there and watch me do this. You work on yours. When you get ready, come back to the video, and we'll move on to the next step. Hi, are you back? Your piece should look like this, a long string of triple crochets. There should be enough, you should be able to see light between your stitches. Like that, looks kind of like a ladder. Now I came back my second to the last stitch, so I'm going to do one more treble right here. I'm going to chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I'm going to slip stitch back into that chain that I just treble crocheted in. There we go. I'm going to chain 1, and then I'm going to turn my work around so that I'm ready to work in that chain 4 space that I just made. If you did our coaster with us last month, then you'll remember about working into a chain space. I'm going to work for, what did I tell myself to do? I'm going to work 5 single crochet into this chain 4 space. So I'm going to go through the space, not through the yarn, not through the stitch, but through the space itself. Yarn over, pull up my loop, and do my single crochet once, twice, 3, 4, 5 times. And then I'm going to continue to single crochet right down the edge of that stitch in the backs of that chain that I worked on before. So here we go. And it should look similar to a regular stitch because we put our stitches into the back loop on our single crochet or on our chain. So now we're single crocheting. This just gives it a nice edge and makes it a little sturdier. And we're going to do that all the way down to the other end. You go ahead with your single crochets. I'll do mine, and we'll come back together in just a few minutes. All right, so we're back. We have a row of single crochet along the tops of our treble crochets. I went all the way down to the end, and now I have that chain 4 turning chain, and I'm going to do 5 single crochet right into that chain space. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I'm ready to go back along the other side. So in each stitch, I'm going to do a single crochet right along There we go. And since there are 40 of them to do, we're going to take a break from filming and I'll meet you at the other end. All right. Did you get them done? So you have single crochet along both sides. Then we're going to come down here to the end. I'm going to finish this off by putting a slip stitch into my first single crochet right there. And then pulling that, yarning over and pulling that through. Pull it tight and pull out the yarn that I need to be able to weave in those ends and make it nice and neat looking. And there we have our mask made. It's not quite ready yet. We've got to put that button on there. Mine curls at the end a little bit. It doesn't bother me, so I'm going to leave mine. But if yours curls and it bothers you a little bit, you can add another single crochet on that end to give it a little more room to make that curve around there and not curl up because it's too short. So real quick, I'm going to thread my needle. And I'm just going to weave my yarn in and out about 4 times, 5 times, so it doesn't come unraveled. This probably won't get a lot of washing. Have to go through the washing machine a lot, unless you wear it when it's really hot and you wear it outside and it gets really sweaty. But you want it to stay, you don't want it to come undone. So we're going to weave it backwards, in and out. All right, and then that 3rd time's the charm. I'm going to go back the other way one more time. And you might have a little bit of it come out and leave a little bit of a tail that's there. But whoops, I went through the same stitch. That doesn't work well. There we go. And then I'm going to make sure that I end on what I want to be the back side of my project. Stretch that out a little bit so it doesn't curve as much. So there's one. I'm going to take care of that other end. And again, I'm going to go the other direction and just weave back and forth through those stitches so that the tail is well secured and kind of hidden. We don't want it to unravel. And back the other way. One more time. All right, so I've chosen the side facing me to be the back of my project. So I'm going to make sure I bring that to the back and snip it close there. All right, and we're done with the yarn. So now we need to put our button on there so that we can fasten our mask made. So I'm going to get myself a piece of regular sewing thread. I'm using black on brown. If you have the same color as your mask mate, that works really well. It's not something that's going to show a whole lot, so I'm not too worried about the fact that I have black on brown. All right, come on. Up, there comes a needle. Get back in there with those other needles. Now, the needles I'm using have very small eyes, and Miss Carol's eyes are pretty old. So I'm going to use a needle threader. Has a little piece of aluminum that I can hold, and it has a little loop of wire that's pointed at the end. And that little wire is easier for me to slide through the eye of my needle. And then that's easier to slide my thread through that bigger loop. And then when I pull that out, ta-da, I've threaded my needle. No muss, no fuss. But if you have good eyes and you don't have a needle threader, you can certainly do it by hand. Okay, I licked my fingers. I don't know why. My mom always taught me to lick my fingers when I tie my knot. I think it makes it roll better. So I wrap it around my finger and roll with my thumb so that I make a knot at the end. Now, if I were working with a piece of fabric, that knot would be just fine for sewing my piece, holding my thread from coming through my fabric. But we're not working with fabric today. We're working with yarn, and sometimes you have to be a little more careful than that. So I'm going to put my needle through. I'm just going to choose a place on this last treble crochet. I'm going to pull it up. Hopefully that knot will hold it at least a little bit. Actually, I'm going to leave myself a little bit here. I'm going to put it back through to the back. And then I'm going to tie a knot. Just like I taught my Cub Scouts to do. So just an overhand knot, pull it tight. And right over left, left over right, just like a square knot in Cub Scouts or Girl Scouts or wherever you learn to tie your knots. All right, I have to get my, see, that's why I like crochet. The hooks aren't hard to pick up. Okay, so now I'm going to bring that through back to my front, and I'm ready to place my button. Put my needle through the buttonhole, put it where I want it, right there. My needle down, make sure it goes through my stitch. You see how I'm doing that there? Yeah, I used dark yarn, didn't I? Okay, then I'm going to come up. This is a little tricky. You have to find it. Make sure you go through the stitch and come up through the buttonhole. Pull it tight. Go back down. Be careful that you don't get your thread knotted. That's why I prefer working with yarn than thread. It doesn't knot quite as easily, and when it does, it's easier to get the knot out. All right, I think that was 3 times. I'm going to do 5. There we go. Always want to make sure I'm going through the yarn, through the stitch. There we go. One more time. There we go. All right, and if you are a Cub Scout out there, I believe it's the bear cubs that have to learn how to sew a button. I might be a wolf cub. But there you go. You've learned how to sew your button on to a project. I tied it off with another knot. I'm going to snip my thread. And I'm all done. I'm going to put my needle over here so that somebody doesn't step on it. And there we have our mask made. Oops. There we go. Now you can see it. There we have our mask made. So here's my mask. I'm going to lay it out here. I'm going to straighten it out a little bit. I'm going to turn it over so that the back side of the mask made is facing me. The back side of my mask is facing me. I'm going to thread one end through one ear loop, the other end through the other ear loop, so that it looks like that. Now, all of those treble crochet stitches are like buttonholes. So I can take it over here and put that there, button it into place, and it's made a loop to hold my mask into place. If this is too long, I have lots of buttonholes I can use so that I can make it so that it fits me and is comfortable to wear. The pattern itself is adjustable. If this is too short, if you have really short loops on your mask, or you're making it for your big brother and he has a really big head, I mean, whose brother doesn't have a really big head, right? So you can do more stitches in your starting chain, which gives you more treble crochets and will make it longer. If it's too long and you have too much flip-flopping and that bothers you, then use fewer stitches in your starting chain and make it a little shorter. You can make it work for you. And then once I have it in place, I put my mask in place and over my head so it comes behind. My mask is in place. I'm going to turn around here and hopefully you'll be able to see how it sits on the back of my head. So there you go. Make a few of those to get ready for school. Make one for your new teacher. Make one for your school secretary. I made a whole bunch for the nurses at my doctor's office because they have to wear masks all the time. And everybody appreciated them. Have fun, and we'll see you next time on Crochet Along with Miss